We are going to paint a bird today. This is, I have decided on the chipping sparrow. This little bird is about 5.5 to 6 inches long. He has a little reddish top knot, and then a little black area in back of his eye. He has a black beak or gray beak, and then darker feet, a white chest, kind of a reddish brown feathers with black accents. So, and then I have decided to use a drawing of, this is a white-throated sparrow, and I'm going to use this line drawing to paint the chipping sparrow. So he has been drawn on here, and as I go through I will explain a few points to remember. Also, when you do your tracing on your porcelain, remember not to follow your line drawing exactly, because it is not always correct, and you will have to make corrections like the beak and the eye. A lot of times you will it's just for proportion. So like you will, on your tracing, you may make a round circle for the eye, and actually if you look at your drawing or your reference material, the eye may be oval instead of round. So I'm going to paint as I go along. The eye, I always start with the eye, and I will block in that eye. I will go to the beak. I'm going to mix a little bit of brown with my black. Go to my smaller brush. Now I did draw this a little bit larger so that it would be easier to see. Normally I would not do a bird this large. This is the actual bird, and you will notice that his mouth is open, he's singing, and the under part here is dark. Then you have a light space where the light hits the bottom of the mouth. So this is a lighter area, this is a darker area. The underneath and the top of the beak, because they round off, the form is an oval, they are going to be darker. So as I paint this beak, I'm going to come up into the top of the throat with a darker color. Going to take off a light space on the top, a light space over here. There's a lot of pink around his beak. Add a little bit of color right in there. Go back and reinforce this area underneath. Go back, reinforce the value on the top of the beak. Okay. Take a highlight out of the eye. Now, this little guy, I'm going to start right up here on the top knot, and I'm going to put in an orange or a yellow red. I'm going to add this little bit of dark on the back and the front of his head. Right up here and right back here. So I'm going to take my dark brown. Then I'm going to take the black that comes in front of his eye. Block that in. They have a little ring around their eye. Now we're just blocking in color. You can add a little bit of brown to it if you like. Keep it from being so flat. You can also add a little bit of violet of iron to keep it from being so flat. Kind of gives it a brownish color. Okay. I also see a little bit of dark color around the mouth, so I'll barely. Okay. Your white area, he is white, but when you have white, you have other colors in there. So I am going to put a little bit of blue where that white, and then I'll come back and I'll wipe out some of those feathers. Okay. This black area goes up to this white, but you notice that even though it's white, It is has a lot of blue or gray in there, and underneath here I see a lot of green. Then you have the little reflected area. So I am going to take my bigger brush. I take my black, put a little bit of blue with it, and I'm going to come around all of this white chested area with this little soft stroke. And block him in. This is all the white area. Always remember also to recheck when you get your shapes on of your eye and everything that they are large enough. If you will look at this drawing, you see, let's see if we can get him in here to where we can see him, his head and his eye. I don't think we can. But his eye is much larger on this. So I'm going to enlarge this eye a little bit more. Okay. Then I'm going to accentuate that little ring by just putting some little strokes around his eye. And that makes his eye look a little bit larger. Okay, and I seem to have misplaced my wipeout tool. Okay, then I'm going to wipe out this back area a little bit. There. Now that eye looks proportionate to this bird. Okay. Now, let's continue on with his breast. This area will be lighter, and it will, as he turns, it will be darker. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of violet of iron under this back, underneath area. And with the blue, it will turn slightly purple, or a purple color. Then I am also going to put a little bit of black green with my blue. Okay, he's pretty much blocked in, and I'll show you why. This bird, the way the light is hitting it, and because I am using this lighting and this disposition of the bird. Down here, there's a darker, as his chest rolls back, a darker shape. And then his little chest has a light space coming through here. So I'm blocking in that and this so that the form of his body rounds off. So see, you get the illusion that his chest is rolling back. Now I think that down here is not quite dark enough, so I'm going to go back in with my violet of iron and my black, and I am going to put a little bit darker value underneath here. Okay, a little bit over here underneath his wing. Okay, so he has kind of a fluff. Now we've gotten into his wing area, but we'll take that out. Now I'm going to go back with my wipeout tool, and I am going to pull out just some little areas. You never want to leave a line like this on your birds, because you want to break up that line. And he is singing, so his little throat throws out these little feathers that kind of, so we're going to wipe those out. And also some little feathers that go over his beak. It's kind of like a little fluff. Okay. And that shows that his throat is, that he is singing. Okay, and I'm going to work my way down here to his chest, just pulling out some little shapes, little feather. They're very uneven, very just looking at my reference material to make sure. Even a few over here, maybe a few up here. This is all white areas, so, and he's fluffy up here, so okay, so we have kind of created, this is kind of a sharp line, so I'm going to pull from my white into my dark to make some feather areas. Even up here to break up this line, and always pull in the direction that your bird's feathers go. All right, so I'm going to pull a little bit out over here. Okay, now let's put in his wings. They are a dark yellow brown, light yellow brown, and they start right up here at his area of his shoulders. And I'm just going to lay color in there. I'm going to come down the side up here on his shoulder area. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to lay all of that light in, all of that gold color in there. And I could just come over over the branch and back out here. Now the tops would be light. The under part of his tail would be dark. Okay. All right, so the wing is blocked in. And we will come with a little bit of, we're going to mix a little bit of blue shadowed area in with this, just to kind of break up the wing. Okay, then we are going to pull some little feathers out that come up over the wing. Okay, then we're going to put some dark. I think maybe we need to put a little bit of dark up here in this. I'll add a little bit of brown to that black. Always pay attention to how your beak, now this one is just actually a side view of the bird, but so his beak actually comes into his head just, directly into it. But if his head was turned a little bit, his beak would come into over here and then you would see little feathers. So always pay attention to how the angle of all of these shapes of the bird comes in to the different areas, like the head and the throat, and that your shapes are correct. The back of the head, how does it arch? Does it actually have an arch back here? So your reference material will tell you all of that. So, okay, so he's got his. Now we'll just go in and you notice that the little chipping sparrow on his wings, this is your first set of little tiny wings up here. Has a second set that's a little bit larger, longer feathers here, and then his main long feathers of his wings. So this is a little white part, and then these are separated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first part of his little wings, and I'm going to pull out that light shape that separates his wings. And doesn't have to be exact. Pull the line back down that you've created by your wipeout tool. Okay. Then these longer feathers would come right about here, and then we'll make the white tips of the feathers, and then the actual outline of the feathers. And the faster you go, the better. Okay, so that kind of makes his secondary wings, and then you can slightly indicate maybe where the longer feathers are going to be. Then of course it probably won't show back here very much. Okay, then we're going to pull down that little ridge of paint that we've created on all of it. Then the next time, and that's your branch. Then the next time you can put on your black areas of the wings. You don't have to put it on this time. He has some little dark feathers that the chipping sparrow does up here. And then the inside of these are dark. We might, next time you might pull some of that dark up around the top of these. Okay. All right, now his feet have little knots, but they are kind of a gray blue. Actually, this chipping sparrow they're actually red up here at the top of his feet, and then they are dark down at the bottom. So I may just put a violet of iron on his leg. And also, I didn't pull out some of these little okay. This little knuckle, and then little knuckles on his feet. This little foot, and these are the only two that come over his. This one goes in back. Okay, and where he has his little knuckle, which is right up here, will be lighter. This little knuckle will be lighter. Another one. Oops, I'm sorry. There we go. Those are his feet. And where you will be painting your branch that he is sitting on, this will be very dark up underneath his little feet, so that will help you accentuate his feet. There's that little tiny dark that gets put right up underneath his feet. Okay. And then his feet. Then his other foot. Adjust the camera here just a bit. Okay. And his other foot is hidden underneath his body over here. Knuckle, a knuckle, a knuckle, and a knuckle. Okay, and then his little talons. Then you would paint the limb that he's sitting on. And that's it. Thank you very much.